Hi, and welcome to PCOS Conversations with Julie and Laura. I am Julie Duffy Dillon. I'm a registered dietitian, and I help people with PCOS to say fuck off the diets. This is my friend Laura. Hey, Laura, how's it going?
Good. I liked that very much.
I know I've never used it as my description.
No, it's great.
Basic.
It's really good. Please do it again.
Did I use it as an elevator speech? That may be a good way to do it. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
That's how you quickly filter out people who are not your people.
Mm-hmm.
If they hate it, then okay. Hi, I'm Laura Burns, and I'm a body liberation yoga teacher, and I also run workshops and retreats and events about yoga, about body liberation, and learning how to honor and celebrate the body that you have right now in this exact moment.
Fuck yeah. Welcome to this conversation. And we have a ritual of things that we like to do, or just like a steps that we always take. And we like to start with our card deck. So this is our PCOS PCOS Body Liberation deck. And we now are selling them. So if you watch this when this gets released, we're selling them in pre-order until May 15th, right? Mm-hmm. So you can go to PCOSBodyLiberation.com to see all the details.
Yeah, but if I can just add in, if you're watching this later than May the 15th, 2021, which is very likely, mm-hmm. and you do want one of these decks, shoot us an email and let us know, and we'll put you on the waiting list when we open up pre-orders next time.
Yes.
So that's info@PCOSBodyLiberation.com.
Awesome. Yeah. So I'm going to pull a card from it, and we're going to see what happens. All right. Are you ready for this?
No.
You are. I know you're going to have a lot to say. Health is not a prerequisite for respect. And I'm wondering if it's backwards for you like it is for me, but I never.
No, it's perfect.
Awesome. Well, this message is perfect, right? Because I know y'all with PCOS are not given respect.
No.
Unless you jump through some pretty intense fiery hoops.
And even then.
Yeah. It's the thing that I always hear about is especially people that I worked with in higher weight bodies, that they have to do all these horrible things in order to try to lose weight, and they do all the things that the doctors say to do, but their body, it may get smaller, or maybe not small enough, but then no one believes them. And so then they're like, well, now you can't have your reproductive medicine, or now I'm not going to prescribe this for you anymore, or just I'm going to be a jerk face.
Yeah. Or they move the bar is always moving. It's like, oh, we need to lose X amount of weight before we can do this. And so you do that. Maybe you even achieve that. And it's like, okay, well, that's not enough. We're going to move the bar again. Now you need to, do this. And it's like, and I've heard this from people, just having that bar consistently moving. And it's like, what is the actual plan here?
Can I say something about that really quick? Because that's something that I think about with that, because we're talking about weight in particular, and I know this card means more than weight. It's really health too. But something that I know so many weight loss pushers talk about is oh, you just need to lose 5% of your body weight. And like you said, so many people will do that. And 5% of body weight is, it can be a really significant amount. And when that person comes in after doing that, a lot of times doctors are like, yeah, I'm not impressed enough. You got to do more, like you were saying. So I'm so glad you mentioned that. Anyway, go ahead.
That's a really real thing that people are doing. Maybe somebody who's watching this right now is like, yes, that's me. That's what they keep doing to me. But just to kind of back it up to this general idea that health is not, what does the card exactly say? Health is not a requirement?
Health is not a prerequisite for respect.
Yeah, for respect. Yep. I feel this so much. And I'm like, oh God, what a good card. Laura Burns, you helped to make this deck.
Yeah, you did. You probably came up with that exact thing. Yeah.
It just hits me so much, how much of my life I've spent trying, chasing health. And so let me just say that when I say health, what I mean is like the mainstream definition of what healthy is, which we all might have slightly different definitions, but we all kind of understand what that is and how damaging that's been, especially as my chronic illnesses have progressed and have become like a bigger part of my life. So let me just say, I no longer chase that definition of health because it was really harmful for me to chase that. I'm never going to get there. I have chronic illnesses. They're not going away. So like, I'm not starting at the same place as somebody who doesn't have those, right? So like, if we're trying to get up here, this person is starting at 0. I'm starting at like -20, you know? And so if we're both trying to chase that, it's like, maybe this person will get there. I'm probably never going to get there. And that is depressing for a lot of people. But for me, it's like affirming, because it means that I have permission to not fucking try to chase that anymore.
Yes.
What I can do, and what I encourage everyone to do, is to decide what health means to you. What are like behaviors and circumstances within your body that feel like health for you right now, knowing that that might change, and then, work on that.
Yeah.
Set your own bar. Like, be empowered to decide, what kind of health are you looking for? And that was really freeing to me, to be able to say, okay, for me, I think healthy is this. Let me aim for this. And if I get there, cool. Maybe I'll move the bar on myself. Maybe I won't. But
you get to decide what that is.
I get to decide, because we are the owners of our, I'm doing a lot of hands. We are the owners of our body.
It's a really important topic. It needs hands.
I get super fired up about this because I know firsthand like how harmful and damaging this culture is about health.
Yeah.
And my definition of health might be somebody else's like very unhealthy. And that's okay. And I don't need to feel shame about that, because we are our own people. We're living our own lives. I'm doing the best I can for myself.
Yeah. I think too, there's probably people who your definition of health is unattainable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many people with PCOS will say, I just want to be healthy, especially as a dietitian. And before they really know that I'm trying to tell them to fuck off diets. But, and usually that's kind of like the cover up for like, hey, I want to lose some weight. I just want to be healthy. And what you're saying right now, like really helps me to appreciate, like, health is not this like destination. You cross the line, you're done. Like, what does that even mean to be healthy? And if someone else is deciding the goalposts, like there's not really a definition. And then I've heard people say it's a social construct. It's not this thing that like we just get to. But more than anything, I just love hearing what you say though too about like you could decide how to define it. I could decide what my health is. You could decide what yours is.
Body autonomy.
Body autonomy. Well, and I think about like what goes into it is like probably boundaries, my like mental health, and my energy levels. Instead of these, I don't know, other things. Something else that comes up for me too is like the whole diabetes conversation.
Oh my God.
I think that's like one of the biggest ones in PCOS is like, oh no, like I have a creeping up A1C, or I've been diagnosed with diabetes. Oh, I didn't want this to happen because now I'm unhealthy. And again, that whole like definition of health is really important. And does that mean someone with diabetes can never be healthy? Like
that's what that means. That's what that's saying. And it's super stigmatizing.
Right.
And often people say this in groups where there are people with diabetes. And so what are you saying to them? How does that make that person feel? And I think about that a lot because I used to do that. So like we talk about the good fatty.
Yeah.
And so if you're not familiar with what the good fatty means, it's like this trope that is a very real thing that many of us have done or still do, which is basically like you are a fat person and you have internalized really shame about it. And so and you want people to not treat you like garbage, and so you feel the need to either consciously or subconsciously justify your existence. So for example, I used to say things like, oh, I'm fat, but like, you know, all my blood panels always come back like immaculate, and my doctor is always so surprised, and I would like feel pride about that. But like now I realize, oh my god, what I was really saying then was like, I have proximity to health, which
Well, then you
really
would get that respect too, right?
the thinness. I'm sorry, what?
I totally talked over you too, but I was thinking about like, well, that would probably give you some respect that you wouldn't otherwise get.
Yes, exactly. So it's accessing respect from the people who would treat me like garbage.
Yeah.
And from myself, because I have internalized like healthism basically, and weight stigma. But yeah, and so like, or like, I'm fat, but I, you know, play sports on the weekend, or I'm fat, but I can run a mile, like whatever it is that you're using to justify your worthiness as a fat person. And this is a hard thing for some people to hear who are still in it. And if you're feeling kind of like a knee jerk, well, whatever, I get it, because I did too. And so I would ask you just to sit with that kind of with an open mind and hear what we're saying. But so I'm no longer a good fatty. It becomes easier to not be a good fatty when your body no longer has immaculate blood panels, or you know, like whatever. I have forgotten why I started talking about this.
Well, I mean, the carb prompt in particular, but also like something else about like blood panels changing, health changing. Like if we're lucky enough to continue to be alive, like our health is not going to improve, right?
Yes.
Like, so anyway,
that's why I was talking about that, is because depending on when you are in your life, your definition of health changes. And so when I was younger and I was in good fatty mode, my definition of health was based on having, you know, blood results and body function that met like the health markers. And now my definition of health is incredibly different. But I think because I've chosen it for myself, it feels like more empowering. And I feel so much like, it feels great to have removed that as like an indicator of my worth.
Yeah, you know, the thing I think about too, and as I say this, I'm like, this is probably is this feeding into healthism? But like, if someone else is moving the goalposts, and so a person, like, let's just say weight is how they're defining health, well, then they're going to continue to do these things just to make their body size smaller. But if the individual decides what feels in the moment or how they want to define health, then I would appreciate that would allow a person to feel more able to access behaviors for them that help them to feel the way they want to feel. But again, that's why I'm like, I may be kind of pushing over into healthism with that too. But just even that like demand, or like, I'm only going to respect you if you're healthy, I can see how that just prevents the access of like health in itself, you know. People avoiding the doctor and choosing behaviors that just perform rather than actually
work for them. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. So
yeah, exactly.
Oh, this is like something that I probably could talk about for like a whole semester, and it had prerequisite in it, so I was thinking like education. But,
cool.
We probably should move on to the next part of our show. But yeah, that's a really important topic, I know, for both of us.
Yeah. And if you're watching this and you have thoughts or comments or reactions, comment below. Let us know what you're thinking. We would love to hear. And yeah, please do. Okay. So Julie's telling us that it's time to move on. I don't think we have any questions from before.
I don't even have a watch on.
Julie's wearing a blazer, so that means she's in charge today.
It's because my office is cold. But you know, definitely put comments or questions below. We love getting questions, and our last episode on memory loss and brain fog had lots of comments. No questions, but lots of comments. So definitely check it out if you missed that episode. And but yeah, if you have any questions along the way, put them below, and then we can answer it in a future episode. So, all right, it's time to go to the box.
This is our box that has our topics in it. And so, I don't know. I just shake it around.
That's like a tambourine.
This is what it looks like inside. Okay.
Oh, it's green. That means it's special, right?
I think it means it's one of the newer ones. Oh, we got a symptom one. Acne.
Oh.
Ooh, this is interesting. So PCOS symptoms, acne. I don't know a lot about this. So
Ooh.
I'm excited to learn something.
Yes. And I'm going to have to like look up how to pronounce the HS word. Someone who's watching is like, blah, 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 is saying it.
Titus suppurativa or whatever.
You get that?
Something like that. That was wrong, but something close to that.
Yeah, it's a really important word for me to like learn how to pronounce, and I always stumble over it. And whenever I have to like do a presentation in any way, I always have to go on Google and like push the button to like say it. So I get a couple of times. But HS, if you Google HS and PCOS, you will get to the word that I'm talking about if you're wondering. But you know, I go in my clinical mode whenever I see these, especially the symptom ones. But HS and acne. HS is just kind of like a acne on steroids, probably like just something that's even more intense that happens with PCOS.
Is it related? It's related to acne?
Well, it's not really acne. They're more like boils that are down in the skin further. Excuse me, and they can be a lot more painful. Mm-hmm. And like some people with PCOS get like cystic acne, but this is just even bigger and more painful, and can be in many other areas in the body too than acne typically would be. But you know, with PCOS, because some people with it end up having high circulating androgens, that contributes for some people then to provoke acne, cystic acne, or this HS. And yeah, I don't know. What are your initial thoughts on it? What do you think about it?
On acne?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not something that I've had to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really have like a lot of firsthand experience.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people who have dealt with it. Mm-hmm. Like I know there's people in our community that have acne issues like that they have brought up before. But to be honest, like I don't really know. I don't really know.
Yeah. Well, and it just shows how like there can be different types of symptoms with PCOS. Not everyone experiences the same thing. And yes.
I was going to say what I do know about the experience of having acne as a symptom of PCOS is that it seems like there's a lot of shame involved because you're an adult, and so adults aren't supposed to have acne, and that it's something like the dark patches, which I do have experience with, or like with facial hair, something like that it's visible. Yeah. And so it's something that people will comment on, especially as an adult with acne, like very visible acne. I think people just comment on it the way that they comment on other things. And it's like, well, that doesn't help me.
Yeah. And you know what people have told me that I've worked with is that like, it kind of mimics the weight loss boundary crossing conversation where adults who are experiencing lots of acne in areas where people can see it, people will say, oh, you know, have you ever tried Proactive? Or here's a facialist, or I heard cutting out blah, 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 we'll take that away. And just strangers saying it. And
people feel so entitled.
Yes. And like just again, crossing those boundaries, it's like I probably have said this on here before. I always tell my kids, like, no one likes hearing how their body looks. Don't do that. Just stop. It's like it's not your opinion doesn't matter.
You never need to comment on anyone else's body. It's never necessary.
It's never necessary.
There's like a spider on their face. You can
or they're gushing blood out. I mean, there's blood coming out of you. Like, let me help get a tourniquet.
Spider on your face, or you're gushing blood. Nobody needs to say shit to you about
right. It. No. Yeah. So it's another side though of PCOS, like the acne of having this kind of complicated relationship with a person's body. And, you know, a lot of people have talked to me about how there's more shame. And then, you know, there's many people who have PCOS who identify as feminists, who are just like not wanting to cover themselves up with like clothes or makeup in a certain way, but then also wanting to cover up the acne and really finding this kind of tough kind of space to like hold these two things. And you and I know, I think you probably agree with me, like how there doesn't need to be a binary with that. Like you do what you never need to do, like using some kind of cover up to be able to access a job that feels more comfortable or safer, that
Or
doesn't
just
seem
to be able to go out and have some peace.
have some peace.
I think it's
Yeah.
the same with like the facial hair and
Mm-hmm.
dark patches.
Right.
Um, what else? Those are the only two I think of that are like so visible,
Mm-hmm.
especially like,
Or hair loss on the head too.
yeah, or hair loss. Like if you want to cover these things up or remove it or, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can exist and move through the world with people not commenting on your body constantly, because it happens constantly, then
Mm-hmm.
like, I get it. Do it.
Yeah.
If that
Yeah.
feels good, but also know that you don't have to. And I think that
Yeah.
people kind of do both,
Yeah.
and and in between as well. Um, and it's really, I think, not fair and harmful to tell people, well, you should just be okay with it.
Right. That's what I was getting at for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like accessing respect and feeling confident and empowered and not having to deal with that constant re-traumatization all
Mm-hmm.
the time of people commenting on your body or touching your body without
Oh my
consent.
gosh. Yeah.
Listen, put that concealer on,
Yeah. Do what you need to do. Yeah.
pluck those chin hairs, like whatever
Right.
you need to do to like get through your day and feel good and happy and safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You
No judgment here. No. And
do.
I wish there wasn't like a message that a person is not
Yeah.
a feminist
Mhm.
or I don't know, or is compromising by doing these things. Like you said, it's like trying
Mhm.
to live without experiencing as much trauma and just feeling more at peace.
I think that it's easier for people who have more privilege to
Yeah.
say, you should just have your acne, have your facial hair, like let it be out there. Like you don't have to bow to other people's whatever's. Like, yeah, like we should all be able to do that. Like in an ideal world, we could exist how we
Right.
want to exist
Yeah.
without being at risk of whatever, various things. But like, if you're in a body that already is going to draw people's
Mhm.
grossness out of them, if you're already in a marginalized body, adding in, like a bunch of acne or facial hair or whatever, it just amplifies that. And it's a lot harder than
Mhm.
if you're in a body that is more like mainstream acceptable,
Exactly.
proximity to thinness or whiteness
Mhm.
or health.
Mhm.
Health.
Yeah. Yep. Tying it all in, but that's how it rolls out.
It's easier to do those things. I see people on Instagram that are like in thin white bodies, like thin white women
Mhm.
saying, who have acne. And like, yes, obviously, like they have experienced harm and trauma and all these things, but like when they're like, I'm going to do this and I'm not going to cover it up and whatever, like that's great. It's so much easier for them to
Mhm.
do it than like a fat black woman or a fat
Right.
person of color, like,
Right.
and people don't think about that. And so they're
Shame, shame, shame.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, shame, shame, shame. You shouldn't do that. Like, if you want to call yourself a feminist, you shouldn't do that. It really
Right.
pisses me off.
Same,
Uh,
same with me.
that's
Yeah.
very unfeminist.
We're gonna judge that?
Yeah,
I think that's right.
I think that's what they call the like white feminism, white lady feminism.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I say it like yeah, as a white feminist, I'm like, yeah. And I'm learning obviously, so I hope that's obvious. But um not that I want to rush through that, but one thing that I want to say, is there anything else you want to add to that part?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Um is I think about someone listening who's experiencing acne or HS with PCOS, maybe wondering, well, if I cut out gluten or dairy, is that going to get rid of it? Because those are the two recommendations that people think about or they get
Is it
told.
real though? Is that real?
Well, that's why I wanted to bring it up
Oh,
because there's no evidence. Like when I'm like looking through research, there's no evidence yet that that actually is something that holds any clout. It doesn't, there's no evidence that that helps. There's going to be some random people that, yeah, that helps clear up my acne. There's one of my friends with PCOS is like, yeah, if I have more than a couple servings of dairy in a day, I do start to get more acne. And so she's just been able to glean that out, you know, but we've never been able to find that in in big studies when they actually look at this in a controlled way. So, so I wanted to mention that because if there's going to be any comments, it's going to be, but what about gluten and dairy to help with it? And what we do know with acne, whether it's like, I don't want to say just acne because that's not a just kind of thing. Acne, cystic acne, or HS. What provokes it, from what people are kind of gathering in research, is the high androgens and high insulin. So whatever you can find in your toolbox for those can help that. And a dermatologist can prescribe things like spironolactone is something that some dermatologists will prescribe, and that for a lot of people is the way that they find that they have less acne, especially like the painful ones. There's spironolactone seems to really help go down to like that level to help lower androgens to be able to help with the painful acne, and same with insulin. Whatever you can find to help with that part. So, and dieting is not something that helps with those two things long term. So whether it's gluten, dairy, calories, whatever. Yeah. So, okay. Any other thoughts on acne?
I don't know. I don't think I have any right now. I really am curious to hear from people who watch. So, if you're watching this and you feel like commenting, let us know your thoughts. Like, do you have acne and PCOS together? What's your experience of that? I mean, share as much as you feel comfortable or want to share, but I'm really curious. I'm really hoping there's some comments about this because I'd like to hear, as it's something that I don't really deal with. I got other skin stuff going on, but not that. So I'd like to know, and I'd like to know like how to be, it helps me know like how to be a supportive friend,
That's a great point. Yeah, let us know below. There's certainly many people, this is their number one thing that they bring up that makes them feel uncomfortable with PCOS. So yeah, we would love to hear what your experiences are. So.
Yeah. Well, I think that it brings us to the end of our show for today.
It does. It brings us to a conclusion.
So if you're watching this, thanks for making it to the end. We appreciate it. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Feel free to subscribe to our channel if you want to be sure to see all of our new videos. We put these out basically every other week, so we get a couple done a month. And our little library of them is growing. It's very
exciting. This is number 15.
I know. Yeah, we have over 200 subscribers now.
This makes me feel so special.
I know, it's really exciting. And we're hearing really good feedback from people. You're liking these, that they're useful. And so that feels great. So let us know if you have any topics that you want me to put into the box.
Yes.
So your topic could be on a Post-it, or if you have any questions that we can answer, any other things, you can find us on Instagram at PCOS Body Liberation, and you can find our website at PCOSBodyLiberation.com. It's all the same, so it's easy to remember. Yeah, Julie, do you have anything?
No, that I just wanted to say that too. So thanks.
Post.
Yeah.
Here's the same mug. Oh, there.
Well, I can see it now. Thanks for hanging out. Bye, Laura.